What's up, everybody? Rob here. So, every year at the Mr. Olympia competition, the Super Bowl of bodybuilding, bodybuilders from around the world gather together to see who's the best in their industry. The first prize winner receives the coveted Sandow Award, which is a bronze statuette of Eugen Sandow. Now, who is Eugen Sandow, I'm sure you're asking? Well, you're in luck. I'm about to tell you. And because I suck at transitions, here is a very brief biography of the life of Eugen Sandow. Friedrich Wilhelm Müller was born in 1867 in Königsberg, Prussia, now Kaliningrad, Russia. As he was growing up, his family wanted him to become a Lutheran minister, but he showed absolutely zero interest in joining the clergy. Instead, after a family vacation to Italy, he was inspired by the many Greek and Roman statues he saw there. He saw their physiques, and he wanted to emulate that as much as possible. And as such, the young Friedrich Wilhelm decided to take up weight training as a way to, grow his muscles and increase his strength. He eventually would leave Prussia in 1885 to avoid the Prussian military, which was, let's put it this way, any stereotypes of German militant, the militant nature of Germany and all that stuff, it pretty much comes down from the Prussians. In any case, he traveled around Europe working in sideshows and circuses as a strongman, where he adopted the name Eugen Sandow. Sandow quickly made a name for himself with his incredible strongman capabilities, for example, lifting incredible amounts of weight and actually would do other things like busting chains. He would be tied up with chains around him, and he would just flex his pectoral muscles and just shatter the chains, just through, sheer strength alone. He also had a very unique way of gaining notoriety for himself. Now, at this time in history, there was sort of a novelty carnival game that was pretty popular in various cities, and it was basically a way for young men to test their strength. What you would do is you put a coin in, and there would be this machine, vaguely like a slot machine, and it would have basically a lever on it, and you would just pull the lever, and it's just a way to measure how strong you are. Just a fun novelty thing. You put a coin, pull the lever, and then people start miring. Well, what Sandow would do is he would go up to these machines, he'd put his coin in, the requisite coin to operate the thing, and then he'd just rip the arm completely off. And actually, in one place, he actually went around the town looking for all of these machines, as many as he could find, and just spent the whole night just ripping the arms off of these things. Eventually, the police got called in to say, there's this crazy vandal, tearing, vandalizing these machines. He's breaking them, ripping the arms off of them. And they brought him into the station for questioning, and he said, no, see, I put the coin in, and if the machine can't handle, how strong I am, well, that's not my fault. And Sandow was very hesitant to say what exactly he did, but he said the police officers made him test his strength against them. I'm going to presume something like arm wrestling or something like that. But in any case, the police eventually then just let him go, saying, yeah, he really is strong enough to simply do that. And so anyway, as a result of this, his notoriety quickly grew, and he became one of the more famous attractions throughout Europe. In addition to his prodigious strength, people would mostly be impressed by his physique. And because of this, Sandow would incorporate what we would today consider to be bodybuilding poses, the first time anyone had ever done this. They were billed as muscular display performances, and they were just as, if not even more popular than the actual strongman acts themselves. And as his popularity grew, he performed all over Europe and eventually made his way to America. Now, like I said earlier, he was originally inspired to, weight train and to become a strongman by Greek and Roman statues. And one of the things he would like to do is actually cover himself in white powder, so he would actually, emulate these, white statues, these marble statues as much as possible. And he was massively popular. Now, it was during this time of touring that he would marry an English woman by the name of Blanche Brooks, and would eventually have 2 children with her. Still, he enjoyed the company of other women who were vastly impressed by his physique and would actually pay money to feel his muscles after performances. And I think you can figure out where this all ended up. Now, due to the fast-paced lifestyle of the carnival circuit, Sandow eventually would suffer from ill health, basically just from the stress of it all, and would have to retire. Now, once he recovered from the stress of being on the road constantly, he would open up several gyms or fitness institutes and would eventually pen 5 books and would eventually also start a magazine based on physical culture. In 1901, along with sculptor Sir Charles Laws and Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, he organized and judged the world's first bodybuilding competition, simply called the Great Contest. In later years, he would help the British war effort during World War I by helping raise the fitness standards for British troops. And actually, he considered physical fitness to be a national security issue, at least after the war. It was determined that there were over 1 million men simply not fit for service. They just simply didn't have the physicality necessary for life as a soldier. And according to Sandow, at least in his theory about all this, what if those million men had been able to be put into the field? I mean, the war would have been over that much sooner. Now, whether that's true or not, that's a degree of some speculation there and, alternate history and all that stuff. But, it's fun to think about. It was also during this time period that he became the personal fitness instructor to King George V of Great Britain. He would eventually die in 1925 while attempting to move a car out of a ditch. Now, initial reports claimed it to be a death from brain hemorrhaging, but more than likely it was due to syphilis, which he contracted due to his, let's just say, affectionate fans. His wife would have him buried in an unmarked grave. So now is as good a time of any to go to the tail of the tape. Eugen Sandow was 5 feet 8 inches tall. He weighed 202 pounds. His diameter of his arms at least, were 18 inches. His chest was 48 inches. His waist was 30 inches, and his quads, or his thighs, were 42 inches. Now, Sandow is the father of bodybuilding, not just through the posing routines that he would go through as a member of the carnival circuit, but also through his use of principles that are still being used today. Now, early in his career, Sandow gained his strength and size using calisthenics, basically body weight exercises and gymnastics, that sort of thing. Now, he was obsessed with Roman and Greek statues that I had talked about earlier, and actually would revisit them, go to these museums at various points during his career, revisit them, just so he could, measure himself against them. He would take measurements of the statues and then measure them compared to himself. Now, many people in the Victorian era thought that they were exaggerated and that these sculptures were simply the result of, artists' interpretation and exaggeration, artistic license. But Sandow thought, no, I think the human body actually is capable of looking like those statues. And so as a result, he created the concept of isolation exercises. And to quote Sandow himself directly, and I quote, giving each individual muscle a movement, and so arranging the form of exercises that when some muscles are brought into play, others are relaxed and left without strain. Basically focusing on one particular muscle at a time and just working that particular muscle to the exclusion of all others. Rather than doing, say, total body workout with a single movement, it would focus on just either the biceps or the chest or the legs or the back or whatever it is. He also pioneered the use of the dumbbell. Now, he did not invent the dumbbell, it already had been created, but he pioneered and really expanded upon its use, and claiming it was the best way to improve strength. Now, there's some debate over this. Some say barbell, some say dumbbell, some say kettlebell, some say, flipping tires. You talk to 10 people, you get 11 different answers who all think the other 12 are all stupid. But that's another matter for another, well, I'm not touching that one with a 10-foot pole. But in any case, he, if not invented, at least popularized several different forms of exercise that are popular even today. And you go to any gym today, you will see people doing at least some variation of the Sandow type movements. And they include the dumbbell bicep curl, the reverse curl, alternating shoulder presses, lateral raises, and a host of other exercises that are pretty much ubiquitous in any workout routine and pretty much any gym you go to. Now, in addition to the exercises themselves, Sandow also pioneered many other principles that are still being used in bodybuilding and weight training routines today. For example, he advocated the mixing up of weights and rep ranges, basically not doing the same movement patterns over and over again, but by constantly changing things, it forces muscles to adapt to new stimuli. So increase the weight and perform fewer reps, or add more repetitions and more sets with a lighter weight, and just constantly keep mixing it up and force the muscles to adapt to these new conditions. He also advocated working out in front of a mirror, which allows a person to focus on the muscle groups specifically being utilized, as well as making sure the person is using proper form. Now, as far as diet is concerned, he really didn't place too much emphasis on diet itself, only advising that a person didn't overeat. Now, that was easier in his day when processed foods were really much more of a rarity than they are today, and calorie-dense stuff was somewhat rare, but still the idea that you should, eat in moderation and not overeat, well, that's just common sense. Now, Sandow also advocated exercise for the general health principles of it and not just looking good. So exercise, according to him, improves the skin, kidneys, digestive function, the lungs, the heart, and other organs, which is absolutely true according to modern science. And he was an advocate for women to exercise as well. There was a belief during the Victorian era that physical exercise would be detrimental to women's health, and Sandow thought this was utterly absurd. And I quote here, "The prevalent idea is that muscular exercise of any kind for a young girl coarsens and makes a boy of her. This idea is a delusion." He also said that women shouldn't wear corsets which restrict breathing, and high-heel shoes and other pieces of vanity clothing which, according to him, cause incalculable evils. He also preached many other methods of improving health and fitness, including the benefits of cold baths, proper breathing, good posture, and the importance of fresh air and sunlight. Sandow also advocated starting fitness routines when one was a young child. Actually, he said that a 2-year-old could be given half-pound dumbbells and have them lift those and then gradually increase the weight as they grow older. Probably having a 2-year-old, a toddler lifting weights, even if they are only half a pound, probably not the best of ideas. But still, the idea that one should establish a fitness routine when they are young and still healthy and maintain that over their life is far better than, not, concerning themselves with their health at all and trying to regain their health once they've lost it when they become older. Now, not everything Sandow practiced would be beneficial. For example, at one point he actually promoted a brand of cigars, which we all know today that has absolutely no health benefits whatsoever. But even still, Sandow's teachings overall laid the foundation for what is today the modern fitness industry. So, weightlifters, bodybuilders, and fitness gurus all owe a debt of gratitude to the Victorian strongman. So that is it for the video. Hope you found it interesting and entertaining. Please hit the like and subscribe button. Look, I'm a cheap bastard. I fully understand that these things, you don't want to pay for these things, but it doesn't cost you anything. Just hit the subscribe button and, help me out here. Anyway, more videos will be coming out whenever I get around to it, and have a good day. Or don't have a good day. You're adults. Have any kind of day you want. See you later.